Welcome to The Listening Show, a show you can listen to. Dare I say, the show you can listen to. As we've checked, there are no other shows that you can listen to that are called The Listening Show. I think we should trademark the term listening.
Hey, if there's got to be one, hey, you up there, what do you think y'all doing with my vehicle? Get off my vehicle.
You lost me. Is this the listening vehicle?
Hey. Yeah, you're right, though.
That and, yeah, you're right.
You're right about that. It being the listening show you can listen to. And wonder, 73 episodes in.
And we're still here.
Yeah. You were talking about topics before. Did you think of one?
No, what I asked is if you wanted to take on a topic or if you wanted to shoot the shit, and you said you don't care, and I said I'd like to shoot the shit.
Okay.
Okay, so
what do you think about that though? 73 episodes of the listening show.
I wouldn't believe if there wasn't documentation.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't technically until today because of the publishing error. But yes, now there is.
Let's talk about something else. You know how we have a show together?
Mm-hmm.
That was as far as I was going to go. I was make a joke about the listening show and us and whatever. That was really lame. I want to talk about us.
Who do you want to talk about?
Who?
Yeah.
Something easy and non-divisive, or is this a word? Derisive?
Not derived?
No, derisive.
What does derisive mean?
I don't know. Maybe
that means nothing.
Maybe it does mean nothing.
No, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
That's the meaning. Derisive means nothing.
You're derisive to me.
Your score is derisive. I don't have a score.
There's derived
joking.
and divisive.
Yeah, I think I mixed words.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think it was a word, but I was like, is it a word? Maybe it is.
No.
All right, something easy that you might want to know something you've been thinking about is what I want to know about. Or you haven't thought about and you're curious about it. I'll think on it too. But something that's like, you ever wonder, like you were telling me how your 14-year-old cousin asked, why do they call it hang up a phone? Mm. And I was like, it's interesting. So if we followed that branch, it goes out to twigs of how we were part of a generation that had a term, and now that term is outdated, and we still use it. And it's interesting how people born in more modern times, because we're that old.
I looked up a word like that the other day. I wanted to know the where the word dude came from. Oh. Do you know where the word dude comes from?
Can I guess when? Because do you know when?
Yeah.
Like what generation? What do you know the year, or like what generation, or like the tens? Like how well do you know origin? Within a decade? Within a year?
It's within a couple centuries.
Oh, that old, huh?
So, a little bit older than a century.
I don't mean it's I don't mean it came. I don't mean that the word dude was invented within the past 2 centuries. I mean, how accurate of a day are you aware of?
Very pretty accurate.
So to the year accurate, or to the decade?
To the decade accurate.
Okay, that's what I was trying to ask. Sorry. Okay. 1820.
It's like it's anywhere from 1870 to 1910 kind of deal.
That's supposed to be, let me guess, higher or something.
But do you want me to tell you where dude came from?
Yeah, go ahead.
So dude came from the city slickers. People would call, there would be like the country folk and the city slickers. They called them Yankee Doodles. And then Yankee Doodle turned into dude. And so the dudes were the city slickers. They're the ones who were from the city. Isn't that interesting? I was like, okay, dude has to be from somewhere. And finally I found it. People are like, a lot of people speculate that dude came from the term Yankee Doodle when they talked about people from the city. They'd call them dudes because of Yankee Doodle.
My hands are full as balls. Not of balls, but as balls. And there's a word I want to know, and I think it's on me to look it up. I want to know where and exactly what the word yuppie means. I know what it means generally, but like, where did it come from?
Maybe it's a person who just says a bunch of yes words. Like that person's a yuppie. He just says yup all the time.
Where did I can't spell and manage this board. Where did the word
yuppie
come? This is tough. The term yuppie originated in 1980s. Yeah, not be surprised. It was used to refer. I know what it means, but where did who coined the term yuppie? Joseph Epstein was credited for coming up with the term in 1982, although this is contested.
Epstein?
Joseph.
Jeff. Gosh.
But it means refer to young urban professionals who are successful in business and considerably affluent. Yeah.
They just say yup all the time. Yup. Got it. Yuppies.
Yeah, but where did it come from? This doesn't say.
I would guess it's from the syntax of the word yep. Yup. You know?
Oh, there it is. It's an acronym. Yuppie, short for young urban professional. YUP.
Oh, there you go.
Yuppie, and there you go. That's what it means.
Cool.
Good guess. I'd be like a yes man, sure.
Yeah, yuppie.
But no, there you go.
Young urban professional.
Huh.
But why is there an E afterward?
Well, yuppie, like you'd say
A yup.
but oh man, I know that's been done like what do you call that? Sci-fi or shows like or games. They put E on the end of the slang to make it more like coveys, like Covenant and Halo. They call them coveys. That's how I interpret that right away. I've heard that done with many things.
There was a linguist / syntax professional who was talking about rules that people follow that you don't even recognize. Mm-hmm. One of them was the rule of vowels, and I don't remember the name of the rule. It's a very long rule name, but they talk about the idea that if there are two similar sounding words that are combined to make a compound word, where like the word tic tac or yip yap or
that's funny you said yip
TikTok, bing bong. The rule of that vowel rule is that the I sound always comes before A's and O's. So it's always TikTok, bing bang, Kit Kat. Yeah. There's always an I before an A. If you said cat kit, it wouldn't sound right.
I wonder.
And the reason for that is, first of all, it's easier to say an I vowel than it is any other vowel. Mm-hmm. It's just literally just sound. Mm-hmm. As like you have to open your mouth, o, bing bong.
That's
bong
interesting.
Bing, bong bing.
And
that's hard to say.
And I don't know if that's a rule. Well, maybe it's a rule as far as like okay, not a law of physics, but a law of nature, where it's like not gravity, but what do you call that? Mob mentality.
Yeah,
it's just a rule of nature that's
if you didn't follow it, right? If you didn't follow it, you wouldn't be technically grammatically wrong.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of interesting.
There's another one too. You ready for this one?
Sure.
It's the rule of adjectives. And this one's way more complex and I don't remember the exact order, but there are certain types of adjectives to describe a thing. You will always almost start with size before any other thing else, like a big fat blah blah blah. You would never say a fat big blah blah blah. There's a bunch of, and like a big fat red stinky truck. You would say it in that order. You wouldn't say a fat red big stinky truck.
Yeah,
you know, it just doesn't sound right that way.
And again, that's not a grammar rule.
No, it's not. It's an observation.
I would have known that, I think, because that one's very weird.
Well, it's a complicated one too, because most of the time, if you use more than 3 adjectives to describe something, people will kind of tune it out.
Yep.
So, but in the cases where they don't, there is a rule, and the further you stray from the rule, the more noticeable it is, and that's why it's technically a rule. What are rules except for how far you stray from it makes you stand out more?
They're more like guidelines,
right?
Actual rules.
Yeah.
Man, sometimes I think, because sometimes I hear all that and I think, why would I even try to learn another language when I have so much more English that I probably could, that I could be learning, probably should be learning. If there was one basic, what do you call that, school subject, English or English, math, science, whatever, if there was one specific thing I'd have to go back and learn, I would want to learn, what do you call that, English, spelling, grammar, specifically grammar. That's what I want to learn.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn spelling better too, but grammar, because it was so dumb and weird and arbitrary, all the rules, that it was fascinating to me.
Yeah, because you like.
At first, I was mad, like this doesn't make any sense, and then they were all so stupid.
But then
I thought it was funny. And
well, then at some point you realized them's the rules, and then you liked them after you learned that they were rules.
And before I knew that was part of my personality, which it was, arbitrary rules are fun. Like I heard this one. This isn't as an idea. Like if you're driving and you go under a bridge, you have to hold your breath, or you go in a tunnel, you have to hold your breath under the tunnel. Arbitrary fun
or like
rule.
I
like things like that. Like,
when an underwater,
you have to do it.
Yeah, when an underwater scene happens in a movie, you try to hold your breath with the character.
Well, that's not a rule. That's more like a, what do you call that? Something we've all done and can relate to, but something someone told you to do it. Under a tunnel, someone has to tell you to do that.
Yeah, or like when you're driving in snow, you imagine that you're in hyperspace. That's not a rule either, but it's just something that happens. You know, like when the snow is coming,
I meant the white dots.
It looks like you're going in hyperspace, like Star Wars
or something.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go back to English and stuff. And then you're talking about syntax. Before that, there was something else, if you can remember.
There's just rules, the interesting rules that people follow that they don't recognize they do until you diverge from it.
There's something else, but
there's more. There's actually, they've written out the exact order, the type of adjective sounds the most appropriate. And usually the size is the first thing that people care about. And that's what I wonder is, why do people care about size more than any other descriptor?
And now you're talking about psychology, not syntax.
But I like, there's one thing to be smart enough to observe that as a colloquialism that people have adopted, but it's another to try to figure out why. Why do we stick with that one? Why do we care about the size more than the color? Like a big red barn. You never say a red big barn. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound right. Or red big.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is that it's not a grammatical rule. I don't know what it's called. I call it a rule of nature, and that it's built in. It's what comes in our DNA, whatever. And why that is really interesting. There's a lot of, it's in our DNA behaviors that are explained by, this necessitated survival of our ancestors, or something where, we can kind of make sense of it. But something like that, it's like,
but like if I walked up on a stage right now, this is where I get into the gray area of rules, like grammatical rules, is if I walked up onto a stage as a presidential candidate and I said, I've got a fat, big paycheck for all of you guys if you vote for me, people would make fun of you for saying fat, big. They would be like, that's not fat big. What is this guy doing? To
be fair, as president or a candidate, you'd be under so much scrutiny that some people would make fun of anything you said.
So if we said that on the show, fat big, maybe people wouldn't make fun of us, but it would stand out. People would be like, fat big.
This is a good example. Regardless of the situation, when I say more better, as an example, that's a grammatical error that I choose to make because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Most people are aware of that grammatical error, like in public, and they hear that and they think they know it's wrong or they think it's wrong. But then there's a level quite not as prevalent, and that is the rules of nature, where it goes, hey, man, I just ate a red big apple.
Yeah.
then they would go, that sounded kind of weird. I don't know why. Moving on, like for a second. Anyway, it's in their nature, I think. They haven't been taught that. Mm-hmm. We don't teach it.
I know.
And that's interesting.
Yep. And so if my theory about that is, if it's not something that you teach, but it's something that everybody does,
I'm guessing it's necessary. Like,
there's a reason for it.
The most important thing to tell somebody.
I feel like I actually do think that it has something to do with some weird psychological ingrained microevolutionary thing about people, that people really care about the size of things. It's like, how big are we talking? Like, people care about that.
I mean, you might more crudely put this into, what do you call it? Neanderthals. They care more about how big is the animal we're hunting, not what color is it. Right. That's more important.
You obviously kind of went down the same track I did. I thought about first threats, like when people were more primitive. Maybe the most important thing was size. It's like,
and here's another thing. I do think maybe this doesn't necessarily disagree, but I think it's about efficiency.
Yeah.
It's the most information in the shortest amount of time. So something interesting about size is, typically you go one way or the other. You got 50-50 large or small, typically. And so you have an answer that gives you 50% of the information versus color, which is 5% of the information, because there's so many colors.
Yes, and in the cases where it's not big or small, it's an adjective that you'd ignore because it's just regular sized. It'd be just an apple.
Right. So you wouldn't say apple. You wouldn't say I just drove a normal size car.
Right.
That's why it's usually big or small, and that's the most efficient. This gives you the most information right away, I think.
Yeah. So I
think they're all organized that way. I'm sure you saw the rules. I wonder how they put them in order, but I would assume it's the most information to least, basically, as I would assume.
Yes, but here's the interesting thing. like if you were to describe its nature, that's pretty low on the list. If you were to talk about a big fat evil barn, evil's normally further at the end. But I feel like that distinguishment might be a little bit more important than big. Because what if it's big and friendly, you know? But if it's evil, no matter if it's small or big, maybe you should be out. You know that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that was the second thing I noticed about that study is that its nature was pretty far back in the types of adjectives that people use in a sentence. It's like
That's funny.
I don't know. That one stood out, and then the fact that size was first, color was like third.
Now that stuff is interesting, but not in the level, to me personally, not the level that grammar is interesting. I think it's because I think our grammar rules are more arbitrary than those nature rules, you'd call them. I think the nature rules are efficient and they exist because they're useful, whereas grammar, some of the rules are not useful and we have them anyway, and that makes them more arbitrary, which makes them more interesting to me.
So then the question, it kind of, most rules that people follow, it kind of boils down to this to me, is like, well, why do we have it if it's not efficient? And a lot of people think that. Those are the people who are a little bit more right-brained.
That's me.
No, right-brained is like
Conservatives.
Artists. No, I think left-brained. I think it's opposite with what you'd think in hemispheres. I think right-brained is
You look
artistic.
it up because I don't grab my phone, but I assumed right and left as political leanings referred to the left and right hemispheres of the brain.
I'm sure that's
I hope so, because that's at
easy
least
to remember.
At least convenient.
I actually, because I thought that as well, and I think I remember right brain
But you know
versus
what?
left brain. Okay, let's look at this.
I hope that's the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if the left and right political sides came from some other.
So I was right. It's right.
Backwards.
Yes, it's backwards. Right brain is creative, emotional, and intuitive. Left brain is analytical. Left brain is logical, analytical, and objective.
Well, that's good to know. Could you do me a favor now and look up why are politics called left and right?
Why politics
that's how I'd word it.
Are left.
I think I looked it up and I was very
unimpressed
with the answer. It was like the 1800s. It was in Britain or early America, and it was like literally where they sat or something. I was like, this is boring. The brain would have been way more cool.
French Revolution of 1789, when members of the National Assembly divided into supporters of the king to the president's right, and supporters of the revolution to his left. The majority ultra-royalists chose to sit on the right.
Read the supporters. Where were the supporters of the king?
Supporters of the king were on to the president's right.
Yeah,
and
that
the
makes
supporters
sense.
of the revolution were to the left.
Yeah, okay.
So it has to do with the French Revolution.
Okay.
I would have thought it would have been something more that has
But
to
it
do with
was
right-handed
literally
and
where they were
left-handed.
seated in the thing. And I was like, that's kind of dumb, but at least that's not stupid. The brain would have been so cool, but I'm glad you mentioned that.
Google's so awesome. It knew what I was asking with that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we're not the only ones who have asked it.
Sure. That is a interesting. I would have if I had to guess though, I would have guessed it had something to do with right-handedness versus left-handedness, where like right-handedness is viewed as a dominant hand for most people, but some people like that 30% are left-handed or whatever, and
That's
you
a
need
question.
that.
I wish I could Google it, and I could. I just put this remote down. What percentage of people do you think are left-handed?
It's probably like 12.
Because we can get a number on that.
It's like I'm gonna say 8% to 12%. I think it's
No,
in
you
that
gotta pick a
range.
number.
No, I'm picking 8 to 12. You pick a 4% range as well.
What number of? I'm trying to use the remote and this at the same time. What people? What percentage? Sorry.
The Googling episode.
Yeah, this is so hard for me.
I don't like the new Safari out.
Yeah, we were bitching about that earlier. What percentage of people?
I'm saying 8% to 12%.
I'm getting the question queued up. You could have done this so much faster, me, and I hate to make you do it, but you should do it from now on. Are left-handed. All right, I'm gonna guess.
You get 4% range.
You said 4 to 12.
8 to 12.
Then please just say 10.
No, because I want to.
Fine, 10 and a half.
Because I think I've heard it's 8 or I think I've heard it's 8, and I think I've heard it's 12.
I'm gonna say 20 to 24.
What is it?
I still didn't spell it right. Okay. I don't know what it's looking at because I didn't write handed. I wrote Haneda. I'm like, what are these results? Okay. 10 and 12% is what it says.
That's what I thought.
No, it's not.
I said 8 to 12.
You said 8 to 12.
That's like basically the same.
You were wrong. All you had to do was say 10, and you would have been more right. You would have been more right if you had just said 10. 10 to 12. Yeah.
No, because that's what I did say.
You said 8 to 12. The correct
8
answer
to 12. The median of 8 to 12 is 10. That's basically what I said.
Then say 10. That's what I'm saying. If you had said 10, this is 10 to 12. You were 0.5% correct. That would have been at least.
Yeah, but if I would have said, okay, listen to this. If I would have said 10, then only 3 parts of my 5 total numerical guesses would have been in the range.
Yeah, because you have less guesses, which is more fair. You gave 4 guesses. You should give
5
one
guesses.
guess. You should give one with a single digit.
Okay, but you gave 4 too, and I don't see any of yours in the range.
Well, it's because
so why don't you eat my balls?
Hey, I don't know why it's reminding me of this. I really want to do this. I have not done it yet, but how could I have not? That's why, because I don't go to Starbucks, but I want to go to Starbucks and give them a dumb name to put on the cup. Anyone who goes to Starbucks, if you haven't done that, tell me why you haven't done it. I want to, but I haven't been there in years. I don't know what name would you put on a cup? Like I think
it's Penis McQueen.
Because I was going to say, I think if I'm literally doing this in the store and I'm standing there and I have to suffer the consequences of this, I think I'd be kind of safe on my first attempt. You know, first I'm not going to suck my balls. I'm not going to put that. You know, there's got to be a level of hilarity and safeness where I think they'll actually say it out loud and not, no, get out of our store, or I'm not saying this. So what would your first bet be for? At least I'm entertained that they said it.
Butt ass the wise.
Oh, you're not going to get away with that.
I know, but that's what I would pick. Are you
that's
asking
what
what
you
I
want?
Yeah.
I'm saying, would you
butt ass.
physically say, can you please write butt ass the wise in the cup? You're actually, this isn't just what you want. This is what you're going for. Would you actually do it?
What I would say, I wouldn't insist. They'd be like, what name do we put on the cup? I would probably say, can you put butt ass the wise? It's not my name, but I would like that.
So you'd go for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I never go for it like, you have to do this. I always be like, what would make me smile and be happy is butt ass the wise. And then they normally laugh or roll their eyes.
Unless it's
I get away with that stuff a lot, actually. Like just doing stuff that would annoy most people. Like, do you remember? Okay, so do you remember? This is a story, but one time I was in a recording class and I said, you should come and listen to my project and maybe you can use their equipment. Mm-hmm. And you put down your granddad's name, Dick. Mm-hmm. And the guy, because your last name happens to, be funny in that regard, he thought you were just goofing around with him.
You thought my whole name was just made up, like butt crack or something like that.
Yeah, because your last name is Seaman, and so when you change your name to Dick.
By the way, I have to interject. My grandpa's name is Dick Seaman.
Right. So you literally use your grandpa's name.
Was Dick Seaman, rest in peace. So anyway,
still his name is Dick Seaman.
Anyway,
dead or not. Anyway, but the guy got mad at you. He's like, "No, we don't want." You're just goofing around. Get out of here.
I'm like, no,
that's my name. And it is your name.
Yeah.
Technically your first name, you just were goofing around. Yeah. But
I told him, I said, I'm going by my grandpa's name. That's my last name.
Right.
And that's my nickname. It's my grandpa's name.
Yeah.
Anyway. And he was mad.
He was mad. But I was like, dude, no. And then he was like, well, if you want to leave too, then you can go with him. And I was like, but I actually need to work here. And so I felt bad.
But he was trying to kick you out for my name.
I know.
He called the campus police for that.
Did they talk to you?
No, they talked. No, yes, they did. Once they verified that is my name, they talked to him. And I remember when we finally got let in, and he's like sitting there at the desk as a receptionist for the class. Basically, he was just like so pouting over here, like, oh, they can't believe they get to come in.
It was so dumb.
It was comical.
Yeah.
Retrospectively, now that I'm not being presently inconvenienced, but at that moment I was like, what a fucking child.
Yeah.
Anyway, which is funny.
I just realized what we just said.
What a little child. He's so immature.
Right. Yep.
Won't call me Dick Seaman.
You big child, you baby.
I should have said that.
Stop acting like a child and put my name down.
Stop like a child. Well, go call me Dick Seaman. Yeah. I just want to be called Dick Seaman. Something like that.
You know what?
You got the joke. All right.
If he would have done that like nowadays, he could have gotten in big trouble because people are their whole.
Oh, right.
Like,
there's a whole political thing about your names and what you want to be called.
Right.
That happened before then. That was before 2016 for sure.
Oh yeah, it was like 2012 when
I was ahead of my time. Now I could walk into any place and make people physically call me Dick Seaman aloud.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want to. I can
Culturally,
do that.
you could. I don't know if legally
technically I could.
Yeah.
Culturally, yeah. All right, backing up a bit. I didn't get to answer. I don't have an answer for the Starbucks thing. But I know that it'd be in my nature to try something safe. I'd go for something that is in the realm of reasonable doubt. So it'd be what sounds like a name, not a collection of words, but ass the wise. I'd go for something that sounds silly.
But
and then the second time I'd be a lot more brave if the first time went well. But the first time I wouldn't be that brave.
I am constantly getting away with that kind of stuff. And it's because of my demeanor. Like I normally have sort of an unassuming kind of and plus I look kind of dorky and I'm confident. So if I go up and I'm like, can I do butt ass the wise? I'm like genuinely.
Yeah, right.
I'm
you
not
charm
trying.
them with it.
Right. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And then they normally go, no, I can't say that.
Yeah. It'd be different than me with a big beard and looking despondent. Hey, butt ass the wise. They would have no desire to do it.
They think that you were
doesn't mean they wouldn't do it. But they wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to accommodate this charming person. They wouldn't think that, that's how they think about with you. Like,
maybe.
Oh, he means well. He's coming from a good place. Okay, I'll put butt ass the wise.
And also people are like surprisingly easy to just communicate with subtly. And like, so you can say one thing and communicate. I don't really care if you put butt ass the wise on my drink on the other. So like I could say, can you put butt ass the wise? And like, I could do like subtle.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
They have to say it out loud. That's the whole point. They call your name. Okay. Not just write it down. Anyway.
No. I know they couldn't say it, but I could.
No. But you're giving them a name with the intention of having them call it out loud. That's the funny part. Was that?
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
So if you're talking about that,
yes, that's what I'm talking about. You gotta be safe, especially the first time.
Well, here's the thing about like making people say something that I want them to. That already puts them in like a subservient sort of bind. And nobody likes that, so it's not.
But if they think it's funny, they'll totally do it. Like fatty. That's the one I think I'd go for. It sounds like a nickname, and it's condescending, and especially if I do it with the right amount of charm. Can you put fatty on the cup? Mm-hmm. Just call it fatty, and then that's something I think I could get away with, And I'd smile. I'd probably laugh if someone did. Fatty, your order is ready.
I would say call me the Mocha Daddy.
But
so they go,
Daddy, put Daddy.
Mocha Daddy.
Big Kev 69.
Yeah, I would say my name is Daddy Wait. Daddy Wait.
Yo, fatty. And they call fatty. And I go, it's mostly water weight. And I go up and I get my drink.
That's funny too.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
No, there's dumb things like that you could get away with some amount of charm maybe. And I'd go for something like that.
Yeah. Father Abraham. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of quick ones that they would be like.
The British are coming.
Yeah.
That's completely inoffensive and obviously a joke.
How about Fire'na Crowded Theater? Fire'na Crowded Theater? Hey! You got to go to jail.
I mean, obviously you couldn't actually do that. So that's the trick,
right.
to find something that you could get away with.
You go to Starbucks and call Fire'na Crowded Theater. That's my name. Fire'na.
That's my name. Fire'na.
Fire'na Crowded Theater.
Crowded Theater. My middle name's Theater. I go by for my last name.
Yeah.
My middle name's Fire'na Theater Crowded, but I like to go by my middle name.
I was trying to think of some weird rule about society and just exploit it in that moment, like Fire'na.
How about weird rules about grammar? This isn't a weird one. I actually don't know if this is an English rule, but you see these names a lot in the Bible. If there's a name with two vowels, same vowels side by side, double vowel, so AA.
Like Aaron.
Yeah. Typically, I shouldn't say typically. Sometimes, generally, the rule is if it's not Aaron, it's Aaron. Mm-hmm. It's a hard vowel followed by a soft one. But that's not consistent. It's kind of like IE except after C, except sometimes not. Mm-hmm. except forget this rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... The rules are so arbitrary.
So the The other idea I would have is if I had someone doing a collaborative one with me, and I would do a super nerdy one. Like if you and I went to Starbucks together and they asked, what name do you want me to put on my cup? I would say Vatu. And then I'd ask you to put Rava on yours. Oh. And then when you got yours, I'd be like, Rava. And I would like yell across the store, your evil will be sealed away for 10,000 years. And like we would enact the Legend of Korra, Rava versus Vatu. Yeah. Stupid garbage. Especially if one of us got like a dark mocha and one got like a white chocolate. That'd be so nerdy, but it'd be funny.
Oh, there's so many.
Vatu? Yes, it is I, Vatu. I don't know. Or Fire Lord Ozai.
I was thinking Fire Lord, but that's like, that wouldn't make me smile quite as much as something else would. You see, there's a level of, it has to be enough to where I can't believe I got away with that.
Yeah.
Enough of that. And then not so much of, he's never.
Pippin Patalapsicopoulos.
Be fun, but
June Pippin Patalapsicopoulos. June Pippin Patalapsicopoulos.
I can't.
Yeah. Oof. That's, I don't know. I'm trying to think of just very nerdy like references, but it's obvious right away that's not who it is. Yeah.
Right. There shouldn't be any confusion with the person that's your real name. No, this is a fake name I want you to say, and we both are comfortable with you saying it.
Yes.
And we're both going to think it's funny, but we're both comfortable enough with it. That's the level I'm looking for.
Yeah. What name do you want me to put on your cup? Pimp Father?
Father Pimp?
Yeah. Pimp Paternal?
Yeah. Father Pimp, pastor of the Church of Horse for Christ. This sister's so call me Father Pimp.
Yeah. Pimpin' Patalopsicopoulos. June Pimpin' Patalopsicopoulos. So stupid. No, I don't actually like the whole ask your names and put it on a cup and we call something out. And
I don't actually know that they do that. Now that I think about it, I mean, sure, sort of some Starbucks in the country that do it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's probably inefficient and they wouldn't bother.
Yeah. Well,
but they are very, I think, as a company, left leaning, and they would probably, if you were going to impose on them, be accommodating of whatever you tell them to call you.
Unless you're a dude and you're obviously dicking with them, then they'd be like,
"Oh wait, so if you're a dude, you're not allowed to."
No.
Impose.
You know the
people.
rules.
I know the rules. I'm just
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like that as a practice in general. I
get it.
Like messing with people with it too. I've done it before and I didn't like it. Like I went to short cake or Potbelly. That's what it was. I went to Potbelly and they do that there too with your order. And I messed around with them one time and like, they don't like that. I don't think. I think some of them just are just like, just please give me your name. Like you don't have to. Some of them obviously have a good sense of humor, but when they're like really busy or something and you're just goofing around and they're stressed out, then it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I got the vibe from that person when I did it that they were like, oh, gosh, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And it didn't make me feel good.
Obviously, it's not what you want. If there was a situation where you and the person you're doing this joke with are both in on the joke, that's what's preferable. But you never know. They're going up to a stranger, and you got to take a risk with this. Hey, can you call me fatty? And they roll their eyes like, shoot, well, now I don't want to do it.
Well, to be fair, like everybody in the line was doing it to this guy too. So it wasn't just me. That's why I thought, oh, this is what you do. You just give a goofy name. So that's what I did. And it was like largely my friend group too. We were like a bunch of college students goofing around. I don't know. I've done it a couple times, and most of the time I get away with like. There's nobody upset. If anything, they'll laugh.
I've never done it.
You've never done it?
No, I never given a name in a restaurant that wasn't mine. I always wanted to. I think sandwich would be a great name to give at Potbelly because it's just stupid, but it's sandwich. Hey. That's what it is, and that's who I am.
And you get soup.
He orders soup. Sandwich. He orders soup.
Nope. I see what you're doing.
A trick. I like that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Can you put down the name? It's just bread. I order a sandwich. I'll put some sandwich. It's just bread. 2 loaves. I don't know. Oh man. Well, that sounds.
What's
good.
your name? That guy. Got a sandwich here for that guy? You know, you could do stuff like that too. I have to poop kind of. Do you want to end early?
I'm imagining that in a more professional workplace. Like board.
Jim, you want to give us
meeting,
our figures?
Big long wood table and everyone's in suits. I gotta poop. Anyone want to end early? I concur.
Yeah,
I concur.
I got to poop too.
We can.
Or do you want to talk for a while?
A while. Can you squeeze your sphincter?
No, it hurts. It's hurting.
But can you squeeze?
You know, like when you have.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like, you know, when you have farts and then the farts are coming.
I know what it. You know.
But then you're like, oh man, I
don't
still
think you-
feel like farts are coming, but it's just poop. I know it.
I don't think you believe me, but I do know what it's like. I've been there.
Farts are coming. Poop is. I think I farted to the degree that fart will come out, not poop.
There's no more gas left. It's
poop.
just mass.
It's poop for sure. I'm feeling it and I'm like holding it and it's giving me like a tummy ache.
Well then, thank you for listening. Listening show.
I gotta poop.
He laughed so hard to hear the
Here, you stop the record, but I'm gonna go poop.
All right. I can smell it. He wasn't lying.
I told you.
All right. Thank you for listening to the show as you can. See you next time.